I'm going to open with a message to you, Gaston. We're not angry. We're just very disappointed.
Yes, Mum and Dad want to bring you in for a little chat.
My name's Chris.
I'm Christy.
This is the Washing Up podcast, and we've had an immunity challenge, and of course before that we had an elimination. And so we're going to talk about both of those things tonight. We are going to bring up the fact that Gaston had a shot at immortality, or just immunity, but I'm going to pretend it was immortality, and missed his shot.
Yes, he went the way of all Gastons.
Yes. Now, we need to begin, though, with last night, the elimination. So the elimination was, again, I'm going to butcher the name. I'm going to call him Jose Lopez. But
it's Josue.
Josue Lopez.
Josue.
You're right. And, of course, the three people in that challenge were Jess and Sam. There
was a third, apparently.
Was there?
What's his name?
His name is... No, I'm sure it was just Jess and Sam.
Just Jess.
Anyway, so in the challenge, they had to cook emu with like pretzels that looked, for me, horrifically burnt. And it looked like, with a little thing under it, made it look like the emu was bleeding out.
It was supposed to be, what was it, after the...
Taste of the Outback?
No, after the eucalypt fire.
Yeah, so after the eucalypt fire, it was the fact that everything is burnt, and obviously...
Coated in beetroot.
And the emu apparently is bleeding out.
Nice.
Well, that's what Jess's looked like. Actually, Jess's looked more like she ran over a frog.
Jess was Duplo.
Duplo, yes.
It was
the other dishes were Lego. They looked very much like what they were supposed to, and small and compact.
Yeah.
And Jess had the big blocks out. Yeah. So it was Jess and Sam in the triple elimination challenge.
Yes.
Now, Sam looked like he was in a world of trouble very early on. He was. I mean, they got half an hour in and he's still like
dehydrating things and
dehydrating flowers, and they're like, what have you done? And he had a look on his face like he wanted to give an answer, but he genuinely didn't have one.
Yeah,
I dehydrated my flowers, and then what?
Yes, but the thing with Slam, he proved slow and steady wins the race.
Well, he proved that slow and steady and, again, not looking like he'd run over a frog, wins the race, because he did a very good job by the end of it. He pulled that one out of the fire.
His puree, his beetroot leaf puree was Kermit green.
It was indeed Kermit green.
Looked like a bit of Kermit blood there.
And there was an interesting sort of moment with Jess's. Well, there were a couple of interesting moments with Jess's. The first one was leaving the stalks in. And I'll give what's his name?
Bill?
Nah, can't be that. Hang on. We can't remember it. There's only one thing it could be. Trent.
Okay.
So anyway, Trent, yes. Trent did a really good job early on. He remembered the fact that he needed to take the stalks out of his beetroot flower leaves. He remembered all of the elements that he needed to put together. Mm-hmm. That was fantastic. That was great. That was really good. And then he just seemed to forget that there was a clock.
Yeah, bugger the clock. And he forgot that there was another beetroot puree, I think.
He forgot there was a second beetroot puree. He forgot there was a clock. He forgot a lot of things. And the moment of the episode was the 11-minute call. We go, you've got 11... When Matt yells out, you've got 11 minutes left. And I've never seen anyone...
I'm sure he dropped a brick at that point.
I've never seen anyone look quite as shocked and surprised as Trent when he... And it was one of those rare moments. Normally it's... And not criticising you, MasterChef contestants, but normally it's a very fake time reaction. This was he looked up and went, oh, no way.
No, they actually mean 11 minutes.
Yeah. He's like, no. No way. And it was this genuine look of horror of, I've really messed this up, haven't I? Mm-hmm. And at that point, as he said in his voiceover afterwards, he's like, there's no way I'm finishing this dish. I'm just throwing things on the plate. And look, he nearly pulled it off.
He just didn't put enough crispy bits on there. And his, the stylizing of his pretzels was basically an asterisk. Which is fine.
Yeah, I mean, look, at least...
wasn't...
Okay, Trent, for future reference, it should have been, at least in the social media age, should have been a hashtag. we could have hashtagged emus. Hashtag pretzels. Unfortunately, now you're hashtag eliminated.
Yes.
And Jess was incredibly lucky.
No, Jess did really well. She fucked up on the stalks part, but honestly, I'm just thinking, right, because it said to, break things off. I would have just gone in with a knife and kind of, spearheaded into the leaf, so you got no fucking stalk, and you just got mostly leaf. You still have the veins, but
Yeah.
I don't know why they had to pick them roughly. Like, does that affect the leaf or something?
It's more to do, I think, just with the basic feeling, the vibe, Your Honour.
The vibe, Your Honour. Yeah.
Pick them roughly, forcefully, grab them, manhandle them.
Save that for later.
I think that's projecting. Anyway, so we need to say goodbye to Trent. Now, Trent,
we hardly knew you.
Yeah, we did. We genuinely
hardly knew you.
Yeah,
It was only Sunday we found out you had a food truck dream.
There was a great comment in after, and it was really funny. Obviously, elimination's a sad thing, but it was one of the funniest things I've seen this series was when they said afterwards, and they always did the recap, and George turns around and goes, "Well, Trent, you've had some great moments," and mentions one dish, and then goes, "What are some of your favourites?"
Because I got nothing.
They're looking at each other like,
who is this dude?
You got anything? No. You got anything? No.
Is he actually a fucking contestant?
Gary, bail me out here, please. And Gary's looking at him, don't ask me.
Matt's just like, fiddling with his cravat. Like,
Matt's looking down at the cravat going,
it's okay, Trevor, my cravat.
I don't know. But as we said, and this is not Trent, I don't think it's Trent's fault.
No.
It's the producers, the people with the name Trent, they just seem to miss.
I wonder if one of the ex-producers broke up with Trent from Punchy or something. He just has this thing.
Maybe somebody broke up with a Trent. There has to be a Trent. There's a Trent story there.
Yeah.
So that was the elimination, and I think the elimination was fair. It was fair. Look, Trent botched it big time, and
yeah, I mean it was insane as well. The whole thing was like that dish. I'm surprised all three of them got something onto the plate and up because.
Well, Sam at one point looked like there was no hope.
Like how many fucking elements? Like I know we've seen a lot of things with a lot of elements in it this year, but that looked really fiddly and really insane.
Listen, we were saying while we were watching it, we were saying, I think I commented to you, I just hope that Sam does like a Val in British Bake Off and just discards the first page and just goes, I made the first page up.
Indeed.
I made the first page up completely.
I do love... Okay, so I've just had my resume done recently, right? And I love people, how they can twist things to sound really fucking awesome. Like Jose's, he cooked for Barack Obama and then to clarify at the G20 Summit in Brisbane.
So he cooked for a lot of people. Barack was in the room. He may never have tasted food.
Who else was there? Theresa May.
Well, it would have been... Cameron at that point. Yeah,
Cameron? Yeah, there we go.
But anyway, it's interesting. I like the way you can twist it.
Yeah.
That's quite good. So let's move on to the immunity challenge.
Immunity!
Now, the immunity challenge presented us with an interesting moment.
When a guy called Clinton came in, who I'm like, people called Clinton always have a problem with kerning, because it looks like something on.
Well, we'll get to Clinton in a minute, because Clinton's the reward. The reward was Clinton, and from some people talking on Twitter, apparently he was very much an eye candy reward for some of you out there. But Adam Yule brought up a really interesting point on Twitter.
Yes.
Because it was mac and cheese.
Yes.
Now, they talked about this family classic, the family comfort favourite, and as Adam Yule pointed out, is mac and cheese something that everyone in Australia ate growing up, or are we just pretending we're American?
We're pretending we're American because...
to be honest with you, our family, we never had mac and cheese.
We had it maybe once or twice, and Mum made it, and I liked it because she put breadcrumbs on the top.
I've made more mac and cheese than I ever ate at home.
I've eaten more mac and cheese at TGIF.
Yes.
Like their fucking mac and cheese balls. Oh,
TGI Fridays mac and cheese balls are incredible. But we don't have a sponsorship, but, if you want to, we'll listen to offers.
Like classic dishes growing up. Spaghetti bolognese. Everybody's done that.
Yep.
Mostly in Australia, I'd say spaghetti bolognese.
I did that tonight.
Yeah. Beef stroganoff. Apricot chicken.
Yeah, we didn't do that much of that.
But that's good. Chicken tonight.
Chicken tonight, yes.
Bit of Canton.
Don't.
Because your mama does make Canton.
Mama was making Canton, and Mum, love you dearly, but
yeah.
It doesn't take long for the word to spread around, and the word is no.
Ham and cheese jaffles, or spaghetti jaffles, or baked bean jaffles.
I did braised steak and onions all the time, but yes, jaffles, yes.
Jaffles?
Or we were very brand name with our jaffles, so we called them brevels.
Okay,
But we were very brand name.
No, we used to call them toasted sandwiches, and then I had to change that growing up because, I'd go to a place and go, I want a toasted sandwich, and I'd actually
come out and be a proper toasted
sandwich. So I had to learn that the word was Jaffles.
Yes, and again,
Yeah.
we were brand name rebels. Anyway, so, which is now interesting given the amount of different appliances they make. I'll have a Breville, please. What's the mixer doing here? Don't need a mixer. Didn't want one of those. So, yeah, no, we didn't eat mac and cheese. I said, I've made more mac and cheese for you than I ever ate at home.
I think we maybe had it once.
Well, we've done it, I think, 3, because I did one with a couple of cheeses, which brings me to Tamara.
Yes.
Tamara made a hell of a lot of sense tonight when she talked about the fact that one of the things with mac and cheese is the textures, and it was the different textured cheeses and the different flavours of cheese that let a good mac and cheese, because again, if you've got one cheese, it just becomes, it sounds obvious, but very cheesy. And I'm not a big, and we've talked about this before, I'm not a big fan of cooked foods that are really heavily overly cheesed.
I know, like one of my pet
I can't
hates
do 'em.
is going to a seafood restaurant and getting your, what do they call it? You know what I'm talking about?
Lobster?
Mornay. Fucking Mornay. Like, just ruins a perfectly good seafood dish.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, so I agreed with her. I did agree with her, and that brings us to our friend. Gosh, how it pains me to see you, Gaston, ruining carbs.
Look, he's not familiar with them.
We would get familiar with the carbs, Gaston. Get with the carbs.
He's probably into low GI carbs and only for specific
He
reasons.
should be up for carb loading before a big sort of pumping session.
No, they need protein to make muscles. Don't you know anything? Muscles are made out of protein.
We're not all former nurses.
It's just common sense, really, Your Honour.
That's the vibe.
It's the vibe of it.
No. So poor Gaston. No. To be honest with you,
It looks really fucking good.
it looked amazing, but
If the challenge was carbonara, reinvent carbonara, he's got it.
but like the second you went and made a carbonara, there was no chance you were winning that challenge.
No.
And I mean, it looked amazing, it looked good, it looked delicious, but it wasn't what they actually asked you to make, dude.
But the interesting thing tonight is that everyone on Twitter, not everyone, but quite a number of people on Twitter were like, is it mac and cheese if there's no macaroni?
It is a very good point, and
Because macaroni, the macaroni itself, is an American invention.
and it is also, to be fair, in the name of the damn dish. It's
Mac
not
and cheese.
pasta and cheese. It is mac and cheese.
It's got pasta and white sauce.
No. And I do agree with everyone who sort of complained about the fact that there wasn't a hell of a lot of macaroni in the mac and cheese.
Mind you, the only macaroni on offer might have been the Barilla, and they might have been like, fuck you, homophobes.
They're not sponsored.
I'm not.
They're not sponsored by Barilla.
No, but you saw on the shelf, the other pasta option was Barilla, and I'm glad I didn't see that shit come out because that was poor form.
Okay.
Marriage quality.
Fair enough. I agree with you.
Just saying.
I know. Anyway, so be that as it may,
Yes.
macaroni probably does deserve to be in a mac and cheese, just saying. And yeah, they didn't do the bread. I mean, look, to be honest with you, I wasn't enamoured with any of them. I mean, Tamara's was the best by a mile.
Yeah.
And again, I say this with all love in the world, Gaston, you know this. You know, no one is a bigger supporter than me, Gaston.
See, the way I would have done it, right? Cooked your macaroni perfectly, popped it on a plate, get yourself a big cheese wheel. You know when you see it, what's it called? I've just seen it so much on Facebook.
At the cheese fair?
At the cheese... No, and they just grill the shit out of that exposed side on the cheese wheel.
I know what you meant when you say cheese wheel. You obviously mean a wheel of cheese.
Yeah.
But what I put in my head was like a big Ferris wheel of cheese. And it was the cheese wheel.
I need to do that. And then, like, you go past and you have, like, a little stick of something and you fondue as you go past the bottom.
That's a good idea. Anyway. And then you can eat them later. So...
I approval of you.
Hi, Lisa. Shout out to Lisa Romano. Romano, cheese! See, linking it back in. This is all links. Rabbit holes, people, rabbit holes. So... We're stalling for one major reason because I don't want to... I'm going to do it.
Do it.
Samuel.
Yes.
Samuel, this was macaroni and cheese. Do not try to make it the fucking healthy option.
I mean, you've got the bad chef from Good Chef, Bad Chef as one of your judges. What are you thinking?
You need to have, just load up, please, with, as Gaston puts it in a negative context, carbs, and just if the challenge had called for deep fried, for example, would you have gone, this is the healthy deep fried option? No,
So
just fucking
I've got
fry
my
that
George Cook
shit.
Foreman grill out. My air fryer.
I've got my air fryer out because I want to do a healthy fried dish. No, you fucking fry that shit in oil. Right, this is mac and cheese. The best flavour you're going to get in a mac and cheese, there's probably going to be a shit ton of oil in there.
Some things I was disappointed not to see. Blue cheese. Blue cheese is an option. Like, I would have made mac and cheese 3 cheese course, right? Where you have 3 different types of mac and cheese, like one with a blue cheese, one with like, and you start from the lighter cheese to the deeper cheese. So maybe like a provolone based one first, and then a goat's cheese based one, and then like a blue cheese based one.
I would have done a multiple cheese mac and cheese ball. Like 2 or 3 different types of cheese for the texture.
Yeah.
In the mac and cheese ball, probably with
that spicy chili sauce that Tamara made.
Who am I kidding? I probably would have put chorizo in there.
Oh,
Because it's me,
bang
and I
on
put
idea.
chorizo in everything. And the oily, and the sort of flavour in the chorizo, and the slight oily texture of the chorizo with the cheese and the mac, and go through it.
and if you did a chorizo dust as well, like a burnt chorizo dust.
Crumb to. Okay, weekend. Done, weekend. By the way, we mainly do this podcast, so I have ideas for the weekend for cooking.
at the
So
ranch.
Tamara makes it through. So Quentin McIver comes in. Now, the challenge...
Is his last name McIver?
It was.
Like, almost MacGyver.
Well, he did set fire to his oven. We'll talk about that in a minute.
I'm going to cook this dish using my penknife and a straw and a rubber band I found
I
in the
need
floor.
to heat up the oven. What are you doing, Quentin? What are you doing, Quentin? No,
I'm
just
causing a chemical reaction.
Turn the dial. No. This is much better. Sparks of flint. No. But, okay, so now this was a challenge where you had to hero, I hate using that word, but we'll do it because it's a MasterChef thing.
Feature.
You had to feature herbs. So...
I'm
I'm not joining you. You can't not do it. Dave Dobbin, ladies and gentlemen, and it was featuring the herbs. So you're right there.
Yeah.
I don't think the herbs have done much since.
Slice of heaven.
They haven't done much since though.
No.
Yeah, again.
Just on an aside, right? I remember seeing Foot Truck Flats as part of like a school excursion, and the only thing I remember is us girls coming out of the theatre giggling, like I was like 6 at the time, insanely, because there's a close-up of him scratching his nuts. Now, I didn't even know balls existed at that time, and I thought it was hilarious.
See, I've watched Foot Truck Flats a number of times, and first of all, while it is definitely a great animated film, the only thing I legitimately remember from it is Slice of Heaven.
Oh, I thought you were going to say
No, it's not the nuts. It's not the nuts. It's Slice of Heaven,
Okay.
and it's for me the thing worth remembering is Slice of Heaven.
Okay, so back at the actual...
So back to this now.
Yeah, okay.
Now they had to pick from 4 sets of herbs. Now. Are you going to Scarborough Fair? Parsley, sage, rosemary, and...
Coriander!
Parsley, sage, rosemary, and...
Basil!
Parsley, sage, rosemary, and...
Time!
Beautiful work. Poor Tamara. I mean, I know it's an old song, but... Come on, everyone in the gantry. At the first point, they said it the first time, and Tamara's on coriander, and the gantries almost wet themselves with laughter, and she's like, "What?
I don't get it."
And then basil, and then everyone's looking, going, and they, oh yeah, she's from a different era. But
To be honest, I would have done the same thing. Like, that wouldn't have been in the back of my mind.
I would have started singing,
Yeah. You would have started singing. I would have been going, no, I want to cook with some fucking coriander.
and it was good because I haven't had the opportunity to drag out a Simon and Garfunkel gif.
No.
Finally did tonight. Was most proud.
See, I just like Simon because, like, he dated Carrie Fisher and stuff.
And it was him and Julio down by the schoolyard.
Yes. All right.
Okay, so you had... Basically, they decided to go with rosemary. Or Tamara decided to go with rosemary.
And then there was a bit of rosemary shaving. She goes both ways, according to Matt.
Apparently.
Rosemary goes both ways.
According to Matt, indeed. And then...
It's the herb of the bisexuals, really.
Tamara starts making... Tamara starts making her dumplings. She decided to go with dumplings. Who'd have thunk it? And Shannon, at one point, when he goes in to get Clinton out of the room, it sounded like he was leading a groom to the altar. He sort of opens the door and he goes, "Come on, it's time." Either that or it's execution. He's coming to the jail cell. Yeah. Goes, "It's time.
You've had your final meal."
And then they both start cooking, obviously, and then Tamara's doing her dumplings with the crispy chicken skin.
How good is she with like making those little the dumpling skins though? Oh my god,
those were incredible. I'm very jealous of that. Now, I do want to ask your opinion on this, and we've talked about it while the episode was on. It's something that it gets my goat, if you will. It sticks in my craw.
What's that thing from The Simpsons? My 2 cents with Kent Brockman.
Yes, Kent Brockman. This is my 2 cents. That ought to fix the little SOBs. Anyway, so Shannon's advice on the crispy element. Mm-hmm. Right or wrong? Now, I raised this issue, and I understand Shannon's role is to help out.
Yeah, he's a mentor.
But she wasn't going to crisp up those skins, the leftover skins. And crisping those skins up changed the texture of the dish.
But that was smart. Like, I think it's fair because, you know, these guys are home cooks. They're not professionally taught. And it's not... I don't think in the past there's been enough intervention to kind of raise the bar of their cooking because it's a learning experience and they don't have to do what he says.
No, they don't. They don't. You are right there. But, I mean, I don't know. I find it a bit like it's not quite team cooking, but it feels a little bit like that. And, again, I understand 100%. This is a professional they're up against. But the other side of that, too, I think came out with Clinton. Now, when Clinton was doing his lamb I fillet on rosemary ash.
Sorry, when you're saying Clinton, I'm just imagining Bill Clinton in the... No, I'm just here cooking my lamb.
That is the best Bill Clinton impression that we've heard all night.
You should see my Monica Lewinsky.
I'd rather wait till later.
Okay.
So... Anyway, hello.
Hi, Glenda.
Hello, Mum. She does listen occasionally. Hi, Mum.
Not tonight.
Anyway, no, we won't be linking this one, but not to her at least. So he's a bit frazzled. He's a bit all over the place because he's trying to work out, you know, where everything is in the kitchen, which is a fair point. Like, he has to ask the gantry, where's the cling wrap?
Well, it's like when you have to sit at someone else's desk and do your own work, and there's just shit you need and you can't find it, so you spend 5 bloody minutes looking for the stapler because they, for some stupid reason, keep it in the bottom drawer. It's like, who keeps their stapler in the bottom drawer? You either keep it on your desk or in the top drawer. The top drawer is where the stationery goes, so you make room for your stationery in there. Or, like most sensible people, you keep it on your desk. Why? Because that's where you put it. Not in the bottom drawer.
Is this one of the things that led to redundancy? Because I have a feeling it might have been. Anyway.
Dear boss.
We're delving.
Stapler issues. Again.
Do not put it in the drawer. Do I have to warn you again, or do I just staple it to your forehead? Okay. Regards, Christy. So
that's my life.
But it was like when I said when I cooked the other week for your sister, and I was in her kitchen and I'm frantically trying to find every item in her kitchen. Yeah, you can't find stuff.
Look, to be honest, I don't think my sister knows where every item in her kitchen is.
That is probably true.
My older sister is wonderful. She always has the biggest, blingiest kitchen with every single fandangled gadget. But when you go to use that gadget, you usually have to pull the tag off.
I actually did a few times. One of the pans, I actually did remove the tag.
That's all right.
So what I found interesting, though, was once Clinton got his bearings about him, obviously clicked right into gear, and he's a professional, he's used to this. Mm-hmm. Now, what I found interesting was, like, he deliberately sets fire to the lamb so he can get that char on the outside, get the ash going, and do that sort of cook.
I was curious about how he's going to make the ash. Does he have to do that outside, on the Vespa, or... that was going to be used for something.
No, the tickets are stacking up on the Vespa. You can't if you set any fire too close to the Vespa, all the tickets will go up in smoke.
Whenever they take a break from filming, they have to reset, like, the studio.
If the last episode of MasterChef this season doesn't involve a cutscene where they pull down to it, and as they pull down to the front of the building, the Vespa is just being towed away on the back of the flatbed, they're not trying hard enough. I want to see the Vespa towed before the end of the year. I just need to see the Vespa towed.
Matt Gary very end of
Till they finish the series. They walk out at the end of the series. The confetti is falling. The winner is holding up the trophy. They all pile onto the back of the Vespa and putt off into the sunset. But the problem
very slowly.
But the problem is George will be driving. Yeah.
No.
Because George divides everybody's food up.
Don't say yeah.
So George will be driving. Yeah. Yeah. I know. Anyway, moving it on.
Bleeding.
My point being that Clinton sets fire to the lamb inside the oven, and he's clearly deliberately he's there rotating it and focusing.
He looks like he's done this shit before, really.
Yeah, funny about that. And he's doing it in the oven, so it's all shielded and protected. Everyone on the gantry is yelling at him, "Your lamb's on fire." He's looking at it. It's in the oven, people. And then Shannon comes over and goes, "I hear a rumour that your oven's on fire." And he's like, "Yeah, no, it's fine." And they're all
Another day at the office.
And they're all yelling, "Oh my God, what's he doing? He doesn't know what he's doing. He set fire to his lamb." And Kira on Twitter and I were having a bit of a discussion about this. And there's been a bit of a trend in the last few episodes of people on the gantry telling the professional what to do. And I understand it's a very closed learning environment, and you've been in this really enclosed, focused cooking bubble for weeks now, and you've worked already with a couple of amazing chefs, and you've seen great cooking up close. So there's possibly an element of being so immersed in it, you're feeling like you're really experienced. These guys do this day in, day out, on a basis that involves their livelihoods. They know what they're doing.
Yeah, but the thing is, right, you're on the gantry, and for the past however many weeks, you've basically had the role of encouraging people on, giving them advice and warning them about stuff, and, you know, that's where they are at. And also, on top of that, like, you know, particularly tonight, we saw when it came down to, you know, 60 seconds to go or whatever,
30 seconds left!
Like, oh my God, he hasn't played it. I don't think he's going to get it up. Yeah, possibly when the pressure's put on for someone who's not a professional, they need that 5-minute call and that pressure put on. But for a professional, you know, he's probably like, he knows his timing. He knows how long it's going to take for him to complete those elements. So I don't know if it's a bit of, you know, adding to the drama of it all, or if it's just
possibly. I mean, it's just really interesting. And by the way, can I point out just on that
yeah,
that we talk about they yell out to people to give them a bit of encouragement and remind them and give them time calls. Nobody seemed to give a time call to Paul Trent last night. Right? Maybe the people on the gantry forgot Trent was there.
That's terrible.
Everyone else forgot Trent was there. It might as well have been the people on the gantry.
Do you think what happened was he didn't show up and they had to reshoot? So
they just put him in there and they're like, just pretend. Pretend. We'll eliminate you. We'll say you ran out of time.
Yeah.
But yeah, no one gave the time call to Trent. And then 11 minutes, which is a weird time call to get to. 11 is not a round figure here.
No.
You know, it's not even a baker's dozen.
No.
So
it's not even a prime number. Or is it a prime? It's prime number.
Oh, no, don't do this. We'll end up in a discussion that my brother once had about prime numbers where he couldn't name a single one.
I'm just shit with maths.
So, anyway. When they went over, there was interesting where Tamara decided to play mind games with the professional, which was fascinating.
Little Miss Sunshine's got a nasty streak.
He comes over to look at her and she goes, I don't want to help him out. I don't want to tell him what I'm doing. I'm like, he's not going to copy you. He's not going to look at you and go, you know what? I'm going to do what she's doing. This is a great idea. What an idea. Dumplings. Never thought of that. And then when they go to get the plates, she's messing with him on the plates. And like that was the point where Shannon had to call out to her.
Do you think she was awkwardly flirting?
No. She was like, I'm going to mess with him. And Shannon actually had to call her back when he's like, Tamara, we don't have time. Come on, let's move it. Which was almost code for just stop the shit. Just get back here and plate up.
Yeah.
And I'd like to point out Clinton took an indigo plate off the shelf.
Was that indigo? I thought indigo was a little bit more purpler than that.
It's a lot closer to indigo.
Maybe after last year.
It's not quite indigo, but it's a lot fucking closer to indigo than white is.
Obviously, the people who are in charge of having the plates there just made sure there was more indigo to choose from.
I'm not over it.
No.
I'm not over it.
Just okay. breathe.
So,
Come back to the present.
anyway, back to the
Ground.
present. We'll leave Chloe and Indigo Gate alone. So they come down to the judging. I was sure, by the way, that Gary was going to give her the 10. Which leads me to one last question, which is Gary actually set up to be the split judge?
Yes.
It's got to be, because every week they come back to Gary as the last judge.
Well, they always stand in the same position.
And the thing is that Gary's vote is always the one that's differentiated.
Well, there is always that predetermination of...
I think they work out who wins, and then they work out the judging accordingly.
Yeah.
Like when they're writing scores down, if you really think that's the score they instantly give back, you're kidding yourself. But I think it's interesting that Gary is always the one to set up to be that tiebreaker. And yeah, like I think the original comments that Gary gave in the tasting gave you a bit of an indication that I thought he was going to give Tamara the 10.
Yeah.
And then he gave her the 8. So again, I got the feeling that it was sort of the discussion was, no, the lamb was much better.
Yeah.
And look, she did a brilliant job.
And look,
and that chicken skin, by the way, looked amazing.
Yeah, and I would have happily just sipped up that broth. Slipped up.
You would have slipped up that broth.
Oh, yes.
Wow.
That sounds...
Welcome to the Washing Up Late, folks. Now here's your host, Hot Dogs. No. Big Brother reference for all of you there. Anyway. Yeah. So I thought that Tamara did a good job, but the right person won.
Yeah, he did a lot more elements, and there was a lot more featuring of the rosemary.
Now, the disappointing part for poor Trent is that they're getting close to doing like this next challenge they're doing. It's basically a food truck.
It is. It's essentially food truck time. It's market stall time. It's getting out into the...
The stalls are always fun, because it's always fun to see who forgets they're serving more than 3 people. Because someone always forgets, and they go, we got our tray of things here, and they'll go, no, that's your crowd.
So there are some things we can expect tomorrow night. We can expect a couple of people to be running up and down, spruiking the line. Come to the blue team. Come to the green team.
Someone trying to discount everything at the last minute to sell more.
Yeah.
Someone cutting something in half so they've got more of it.
Yeah, someone choosing an ingredient that, okay, while it might cook quick, will take a fucking long time to actually prep.
A sauce that's going to run out, so they start spooning it on very slightly.
While Callan's in the background making more of it.
Yeah, while Callan's... he's not even on their team. He's just running between every team making more of the sauce. So there's a few things to look out for there, so get your bingo cards ready.
Oh, there'll be Matt's hat. I'm sure Matt will be wearing a hat.
Oh, it's outdoors. Matt is always wearing some form of broad brim. I'm going with maybe a white fedora.
Yeah.
I think we're white fedora already.
We'll see a child being happy but shy to meet the judges.
Yeah, there'll be a really overexcited woman going, I love them all. I just love them all.
Yeah, and it'll be her and her daughter.
And there'll be some guy who's less than impressed to actually have to speak to a camera.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, no, it was good. It was, great. And he's clearly been poked and prodded to the front because they're like, we need to speak to a male.
There's 2 Gen Ys who look out of place, or millennials, sorry. Oh, look at me showing my age. Some millennials there, all dressed up funky wise with a plastic spork in their hand, poking at it going, I really like the texture of such and such, and just like talking it up like they're major foodies.
And at some point, George will walk around telling everyone that they don't know what the pressure is like to serve this many people on the side of a street. And George, neither do you.
No, I don't think George will be there, because you know how usually George just...
George doesn't mix with the plebs?
George doesn't mix with the plebs.
George isn't allowed near the public?
No.
Especially after previous incidents. Anyway, so with that in mind, let's move past that now. And before we finish up, we're just going to put a call out because we're very intrigued. We've got a concept we're working on, but it's only going to come to fruition if enough people want to do it. So what we're looking to do is potentially get a venue in the Sydney CBD. We've got a few people that we are actually sort of having some conversations with about that, to do sort of a viewing party for the finale of MasterChef and then do a live washing up recap afterwards. That's what we're planning.
Yeah.
But we kind of need some feedback on that if people want to do it or not. Because if we can't get enough people that are interested in it, then it's no real use getting the venue.
Yeah.
So if you're interested, if you think there are other people... If you think there are other people that might be interested, drop us a line on Twitter. There's a poll at the Washing Up Twitter.
Yeah.
But get in touch with us any way you want. Just give us a shout out to a yes if you're interested.
I mean, you're guaranteed to have one person that's been on telly there. I mean, I was on Romper Room and Vidiot.
And look, I can guarantee you a recount of her Vidiot story in person.
Yeah.
I'll
give you a bit more behind the detail. And, it's quite fitting that I talk about Vidiot because the first time I ever encountered Chris Cornell and Soundgarden was when I won not one, but 2 Black Hole Sun CDs for being on Vidiot.
They gave you 2 of those?
Yeah, because they ran out of other...
So you have the same thing twice.
I got 2 Black Hole Suns and a Jano CD.
Just keep that powder dry because this is the sort of quality shit you're going to get live.
Yeah.
Okay, think about this. Plus, you're going to get our live commentary as it happens, which is not going to be what we talk about on the podcast. So there's a whole opportunity here for a good night of just getting people who like MasterChef together, watching the finale together, a few drinks, a live podcast at the end of it.
Maybe some mac and cheese because it's an Australian favourite.
Apparently it's a family classic. So let us know at the Washing Up, at Red Dwarf 40, at Muse Madam K. Just let us know if you're interested. Again, there's a poll up for a week. If you can let us know if you're interested or not, and we'll go from there.
Yeah.
I think that's a pretty good thing. I'm excited for the concept.
Oh, you're a bit Big Kevy, are you?
I am a bit Big Kevy. I'm excited. I'm also alive, however, which doesn't make me like Big Kev.
Yeah.
So with that in mind, I've been Chris.
I've been Christy.
And we will catch you all after the episode on Thursday.
Ciao.